Hello, everyone. We're excited for you to be joining us today. On this live, we're going to be chatting with Joel Holland, CEO of Harvest Host. Harvest Host is one of the most exciting camping memberships in the RV community. We'll be discussing all the perks, unique offerings you get when you become a Harvest Host member. Be sure to stick around. We'll be giving away a free membership at the end of the interview. The giveaway winner will be chosen at random, so make sure you like or comment, put something down below. If you have any questions for Joel, please feel free to leave them in the comments and we'll answer them live as well. Good morning, good afternoon. My name is Jim Hoffman. I'm Vice President of Wholesale Warranties. Joel, thanks so much for taking some time and sitting down with us. We really, really appreciate it. How are you doing today?
I'm good, man. We appreciate being here. We love being partners with you guys. Our members have enjoyed Wholesale Warranties, so thanks for having me on.
Oh, it's our pleasure, and we're really excited. I don't know if there's anybody who doesn't know what Harvest Host is, but assuming that there's a few of those individuals out and about, I'm hoping to give them a kind of a education 101 as it pertains to your guys' services, because I think it's just a great niche in this market and has a lot of value. And as you know, we've had a lot of new RVers enter the space in the middle of the pandemic and a little bit of post-pandemic. So kind of that being said, I'll kind of turn it over to you and ask you a little bit about your backstory, how you kind of got into RVing and where Harvest Host kind of plays into all that.
Yeah. My backstory is kind of, I guess how a number of RVers got into it kind of spontaneously. So my wife and I were living in the DC area, totally burned out on city life. Anywhere you went, whether it was a supermarket or the office, was traffic. I got so tired of traffic, got tired of having to work a specific schedule. And one day we both looked at each other and we're like, we're young. We didn't have kids at the time. Like, should we just do this road trip thing we've always talked about? And we'd romanticize this idea of driving across the country, Route 66 and all the flair. We jumped on it. We went out and bought a truck and a fifth wheel and hit the road thinking we'd do it for a while, get burned, get over it and kind of put it in storage and make it like a weekend thing now and then. But the opposite happened and we just totally fell in love with it and spent 2 years RVing through all the lower 48. And by the end of that 2 years, loved it more than we ever thought we would. Just a super fun community of people. There's no end of incredible things to see in the country. And it always feels like a scavenger hunt. Every time we go out in the rig, it's like, what are we going to find today? Fell in love with this world. And then along those travels had learned about Harvest Hosts, which at the time was a very, very small program, but with a very, very cool concept of staying at, unique places like wineries and breweries and farms. Reached out to the founders, Don and Kim Green, and said, hey, I'd love to buy this business and try to scale it. I'm an RV entrepreneur, but I'm a technology entrepreneur. I think I could build the technology. They're running on a WordPress website. Let's build an app. Let's really take this to the next level. And so we ended up buying the company in 2018 and it's been an awesome ride.
Yeah, and that you kind of gave an overview there. And for any listeners who are unfamiliar with Harvest Host, like I said, there might be one or two, but it's really some unique. It's an ability to stay. It's some really unique, not necessarily destinations along the way, but if you were to go from DC to Mount Rushmore and you put that in, can you tell a little bit more about the kind of stays that you guys offer and that kind of perk?
Totally. Yeah. We kind of build them as unique experiences, right? And you nailed that word unique because that's what attracted us to it. So say you're going from DC to Mount Rushmore, you can use our trip planning tool. You can put in the dates you're going. We'll show you availability along your route. You can tell us if you're traveling with pets. You can tell us how large your rig is, and we'll just show you our hosts. And by the way, now we have over 3,500 Harvest Host locations and over 3,000 Boondockers welcome locations. So 6,000 places, they're everywhere. And then you can kind of choose what you're looking for. So if you want to go to a winery because it's a weekend, pick a really pretty winery. You'll probably get the park, somewhere really scenic, go inside, do a tasting, go back to the RV. You don't have to drive anywhere. It's awesome. There's museums and experiences. So like if you're driving through Kansas on the way, you go to Stratica Underground Salt Museum and you take an elevator 400 feet into the darkness and then you see them blasting salt. It's cool. Or if you're in Nebraska, you go to Golden Spike Tower and you can you go up to the top of this observation tower and watch over 100,000 trains couple and decouple every day, largest train yard in the world. So it's unique stuff like that, where you wouldn't normally get to spend the night in your RV at these places, but through Harvest Hosts, through our membership, you can. And there's no fee to stay at any of these locations. But the idea is you'll support the small business by buying the wine, doing a tasting, buying a ticket to the museum. But then we intentionally keep our membership inexpensive, about $100 a year. That gives you unlimited access to the whole network. So it's really fun, and it's all about the experiences.
I love to hear your enthusiasm about it, because we actually share the similar enthusiasm here at the office about what your guys' services offer, right? And so we've been in the RV space for over a decade, seen peaks and valleys. And the one thing that we know and that we'll always believe in is the core group of people that you have, right? You can go to any campground and you're just going to get along with so many people within that community. And then what you guys offer is that one extra bit of uniqueness or a little bit of excitement, where, to your point, like you would probably go, hopefully you would get an opportunity to go to the winery anyway. But now, using that same example, not only do you get to go and kind of stay on the grounds, but you get to kind of help out that small business kind of in exchange for parking. I'm assuming I'm understanding that correctly.
Totally. That's exactly right. They're giving you a safe and scenic place to stay for free. And you're basically supporting the business, which you would probably be doing anyway. Right. So that's what I love about the program. We're just bringing two groups of great people together, great small businesses, great RVers, and just making some happiness in the middle.
Yeah. And I mean, even as a kid traveling in Northern California in a VW bus with my folks and my siblings, like I can remember certain stops along the way, stopping at that one particular restaurant, in Shelter Cove, which nobody's ever heard of. It's just a tiny town in the middle of nowhere. But going to that one particular restaurant to support that small business and thinking it and taking it a step further with you, like how cool would it be if we could have just camped there or stayed the night there and got to experience a little bit more of the surrounding area? Like it's just such an awesome concept. So you gotta, maybe you mention it, because going down in an elevator and seeing blast and salt, that could very possibly take the cake. But do you have a favorite like memory or location from all your travel?
Yeah. I've told this story before, so apologies to anybody who's heard it, but it's so true that I just have to repeat it. I mean, my favorite memory was getting a massage from an 80-year-old nun unexpectedly at an alpaca farm in Kansas. All right. So like, let's put all that together. So
can you break that down a little bit for us?
Let's double click on that. So,
Okay.
It was the first time I'd ever gone to a host. I'd actually become a member of Harvest Host. I didn't own the company yet. I was driving through Kansas and typically, because we live in Colorado, we go back east, we drive through Kansas, and I felt bad. We'd always just drive through Kansas and never stop. And I'm like, I know Kansas is a cool state. There's got to be cool things to do. So I looked on Harvest Hosts, and there was this farm called Heartland Farm, like near Waukene, like not too far off the highway, down a dirt road. I was like, cool, let me check that out. So drove down this beautiful dirt road. This like young girl came out who's working there and said, parking where you want. It's a huge property. So I picked a really scenic spot. And she's like, now I'll go give you a tour. And she like takes me into the first shop where one of the nuns made alpaca scarves. And I was like, neat, got a scarf. Next one, she made soaps, neat. And then without really like mentioning or thinking about it, she's like, we also offer massages. And I was like, that's cool. I've never gotten a massage on an RV trip. She's like, so if you'd like one, this is the like building. Just be here at 9 a.m. I'll sign you up. I was like, perfect. Love that. So I went back, drank a couple of cold brews, enjoying the farm, went to bed, woke up, had my coffee, walked to this little house ahead of time, got in there in preparation for the massage. And like, I'm in there early. So I kind of get ready for the massage. Like I take my clothes off, I get under the cover, like sure. 101. Never once did I think that the nun was the one that would be giving the massage. Like just never crossed my mind.
No.
And like this nun, I think her name was Imelda, she like opens the door and I'm like horrified because I'm like, I don't know that you're allowed to be naked in front of nuns. I don't know what the rules are here.
No, I would immediately be worried about sirens. I don't know why, it just pops into my head. I'm like, oh gosh, what do I do here?
Totally. And I'm panicking because like, I can't, it's too late. Like I can't jump out and get dressed. That's
You're
never going to work.
Yeah.
Right. I know that's not good. So I just was like sweating it out. I'm like this, I just hope she doesn't like, I hope this isn't an issue. And it wasn't. She was amazing, incredible massage, like incredible massage for anyone, let alone an 80-year-old, let alone none. And so I kind of left that experience being like this is what RVing is about. Like, I'm going to tell the story to anybody who's going to listen years to come. I got to buy this company. So that was it.
Totally.
Yeah,
totally. Because I mean, if I would have asked you, 2-3 weeks prior to that trip, hey, what are the odds that you would want to get a massage at a farm by an 80-year-old lady, and oh, by the way, she's a nun, you'd be like, dude, that's not going to happen. There's no way.
Yeah, right. No, there's no way that's a thing.
Yeah, it's not a thing, doesn't exist, yada, yada. But no, I mean, to your point, though, that's what brings, it's those, and now granted, that one's quite, quite a stretch, I'd say, for anybody who might become a member or is looking into it or currently is a member. That may or may not happen at most farms, I would imagine. But it is out there.
That's right.
Well, there's no denying how many people kind of got into the RV space during the pandemic, and rightfully so. I think a lot of it was kind of getting your kind of ducks in a row to say, wow, we don't have to travel across the pond or down south or up north. Like we could actually, in the lower 48, there's so much to do and see here. And so a lot of people got out and started experiencing that. I know for us at Wholesale Warranties, we've seen our clientele increase, which is great. Tell me, is that, I'm assuming, something similar on the Harvest Host side?
It is. Yeah. I think we've been very fortunate in the RV world that I think people need to travel to stay sane for the most part. Like everyone likes to travel. It's just an amazing thing. When plane travel was not possible, when going international was not possible, thank goodness RVing was like the safe way to do it. And a lot of people jumped in. So we certainly benefited from that huge growth. But I think what's exciting is that now the pandemic's kind of in the rearview mirror, or at least, a number of years in, we're not seeing like deceleration off the other side, right? And that was always the big concern. Like, does it explode and then everyone just goes back to normal and RVing dies? No. Right. I mean, what we're seeing is it like introduced a lot of people to a really cool lifestyle and now they're hooked, right? Like no one goes to a national park and is like, that wasn't that cool. No, it's awesome. So I think people are back in love with road travel, with backyard travel, with like seeing small town America. And I don't think that's going back in the box.
Yeah, I think, for us on our side, we saw the attrition almost immediate, right? And what I mean by that is a lot of people would put their toe in the water and you quickly find out that it's not for everybody, either your first trip or your first payment on said rig, that can scare a lot of people. And so we were kind of wondering if we were going to have the same thing, the peak and then the valley. And really it's just kind of a slow, steady climb up. Now, with all that, and I'm a kid who grew up that, I was fortunate enough to, when the streetlights came on, I went home. I didn't have a phone or a pager or anything like that, kind of dating myself with the pager. But then shortly thereafter, I used a dial-up modem, right? So technology has been kind of this process with me. And I don't want to give away too many things or give my overall approval and excitement on your app, but can you talk a little bit about your app that is available on people's phones?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And we spent a lot of time on the app, right? So it a ton. And in fact, we just finished like a 6-month complete rebuild. And it's awesome. I mean, and now the app, you can do everything through it. So you can search, you can obviously view all the photos and reviews. You can do all the filtering, like I mentioned. So that we have so many locations now that filtering is important. So you can either filter by your trip, by where you are. You can tell us you only want to go 20 miles off the highway or 50. Again, you can tell us if you have pets and you make sure it's a pet friendly location. You can tell us how big the rig is. So we only show you places that can fit you. Lot of ways to find exactly what's right for you. And then ultimately you can book right through the app. So you can pull up the calendar and see like what days are available. Or by the way, you could actually set your dates when you were searching. So you only see things available for you when you're ready. Click on it, book it. It goes straight to the host. They just simply approve it and you're off to the races. Messaging is now fully through the app. So you can then message back and forth with the host if you have questions or issues. If they have any kind of formatted like instructions for what to do upon arrival, that'll come right to you through the app. And then you'll get reminders. You'll get reminders of your stay. If you have to cancel, you can do that through the app. Basically, you can do it all, and hopefully really easily. And as I watch reviews come in every day, people seem to really like it. So I think it was the right move.
And I don't think I could echo that enough. I know we've dabbled with the idea of an app, and there's a lot of time and energy and design. There's so much that goes into it. And for those of you that are watching who may think, oh, well, maybe it's just a simple filter, like I want to stay at a winery or I don't want to stay at a winery, right? Just that kind of toggle on off. There's so much more stuff in there. And I don't know from firsthand experience, but I know, like you mentioned, rig size, right? Imagine getting to a winery or a place like that that's not necessarily was never scoped or designed necessarily to hold rigs, right? But you need to know the size so you can get in and out, right? I mean, it's not an easy maneuverable vehicle. And so like the little attention to detail there, also with the integration on the calendar on what's available on that trip. I mean, there's just so many good things. I think selfishly, as kind of like a techie nerd, I think the membership is worth it just for the experience of using the app. But I mean, there's so much more that comes with that. And actually on that note, make sure you're commenting down below or liking the page, because we are giving away a membership for Harvest Host, and the winner is going to be picked at random, but you got to leave a comment or like during this live. All right, so let's switch gears for a little bit, and I want to discuss Boondocker's welcome. And I was kind of hoping you could give, because I think Harvest Host does have a really strong audience, and maybe not all or the majority are familiar with Boondocker's welcome. So I was hoping you could give a little bit of an introduction and how it kind of fits into the ecosystem with Harvest Host.
Yeah, totally. So we bought Boondocker's welcome a year ago. The company's been around a similar amount of time as Harvest Host, so a long time. And the spirit of the program is very similar. You pay a membership fee. You have unlimited access to like 3,000 locations, so similar number of locations too. The big difference is Boondocker's welcome, it's people's private property, whereas Harvest Hosts are small businesses. And with Harvest Hosts, the social contract is you go buy the wine, you've fulfilled your social contract. With Boondocker's welcome, it's much more community driven. So you're going to stay on someone's farm or at their house, in their driveway, and there it's more like, maybe you take them a gift, or maybe you just spend time, have a beer with them. So the Boondocker's welcome hosts that I've visited, I'll usually bring a little 6-pack of beer and it's like, hey, do you want to like sit on the deck this evening and like chat? And a lot of probably most of the Boondocker's welcome hosts are RVers themselves. And so they're in the lifestyle. They love to just talk about travel, right? Just sit and shoot the breeze, talk about the coolest places you've gone, like where have you seen the most nun masseuses and things like that. And so that's the big difference. It's the same annual membership, unlimited access to the network. All the locations are also now fully integrated with Harvest Host's website and app. So you don't need a separate app or website, just log in. It is a separate membership, though if you have a Harvest Host membership already, it's a less expensive upgrade to bolt it on. And vice versa. If you have Boondockers, you can add Harvest Hosts, and then just do everything through the same app, which is nice.
Yeah, no, and you kind of articulated it really well. And just for anybody who's kind of trying to grasp the concept of it, Harvest Host is kind of like a small business. If you go and stay, you're going to try to do your best to support the business. But at the end of the day, it's a business property, where Boondockers is on private land. And it is, I'm sure it's very reassuring that a lot of people understand that private land there probably are RVers as well. So they have a certain, they're aware of what it's like when you go into Boondock. And to your point, I mean, I think the only time you can get 20 strangers around a campfire and literally talk for hours on end is at a campsite or some type of grouping of that capacity, right? And I think it's great that you guys offer an upgrade if you have Harvest Host and you switch and you want to add Boondockers. That's awesome. But there's probably a few people out there that are like, no, I would only prefer to stay with businesses, or I would only prefer to stay on somebody's private land.
Yep.
I would assume the majority is kind of both, because experience, how many amazing experiences can I get in my lifetime? And whether it's boondocking, whether it's utilizing Harvest Host, just the idea of going to a museum or down into the salts is just, it adds that extra oomph, if you will, to the trip that you're out and about.
Yes.
So I'm sold. Like I said before, I think I might even get a membership just for the app. And honestly, guys, if you haven't seen it, I can't implore you enough, because I think the way that I look at it, or the way that I saw it, is it was so user-friendly and there's everything there. And imagine an app right now. Recently my wife and I and kids just used Airbnb, and you could message through there and you can get a lot of the things done out of just that app. And what you guys have done is you guys have built something very similar. And I can tell you, one night at the Airbnb we were at would have covered enough of a membership fee for both Harvest Hosts and Boondockers. So that's why I think I'm so engaged on the app, is because it does give the end user so many freedoms to choose and help them along their journey. And much like ourselves here at Wholesale Warranty, the journey is the success, right? The ability to get out and travel, make memories, have experiences. I think your guys' app and the dedication you put to it allows people to have a more amazing time. Joel, it's honestly, it's been so awesome getting to hang out with you and hear more about it. I think we have some questions. Oh, we have questions. Yes. Okay, so this is kind of an impromptu thing. We didn't rehearse this, just full.
So somebody asked, how does Boondockers Welcome work for the host? What do they get out of it?
How does Boondockers Welcome
work for the host?
Work for the host.
What do they get out of it?
Oh, what do they get out of it?
Yes. Yeah. And I think for them, it's the community aspect. The hosts really enjoy meeting our members and sharing a conversation. I think that's the big one. I will note that 70% of Boondockers Welcome hosts offer hookups of some sort, electricity, water.
Oh, wow.
Yep. And they can charge a nominal fee for that, $5, $10. Okay. I don't think that's why they're in the program, to make $5, but
No.
But no, I think it's the community part. It's like RVers like talking to other RVers. And so,
okay.
Just share a story.
No, I can think of a handful of people just in my small network that would totally do that for nothing else than just the camaraderie to hang out. Like you said earlier, hang out, have a beer, and talk for a couple hours, because I think that's really awesome.
Last question is,
okay.
Have they seen an uptick of new RVers at Harvest Host locations, just with all of the new?
Have you guys seen an uptick in users?
New RVers.
In new RVers
with the last couple of years
at Harvest Host?
Yes, we have. And I guess that's probably just a phenomenon throughout the industry. There's a lot of new RV owners. Most of our members, though, I think it's like 80% are 3 to 5 years experience. So most of our members have been RVing a while. But I mean, we love new RVers. It's exciting. Like I'm pumped that they got a rig and so quickly figured out, that boondocking and dry camping is a fun way to experience the RV lifestyle. Because I think a lot of times it takes RVers a couple years before they figure that out. It did for us, right? Like our first year, like a lot of RVers put boondocking and dry camping on a pedestal. I think it's really hard. Mm-hmm. And I try to preach the opposite, which is you literally don't have to do anything. You don't have to plug in. You don't have to hook up. You just it's beauty parking. It's beauty parking, right? So, but still, like if you haven't done it yet, you think it's like crazy. And then you do it for the first time and realize, wow, these rigs are built to be off grid. you've got water in the tanks, you've got battery power for a day easily. Like maybe you can't run your air conditioner, but if you have a generator, you can. I mean, so it's really not hard. So yeah, we've seen a lot of new RVers come in, but still the majority of ours are people who've been doing it for a while.
Yeah, I know. I mean, personally, I've never been behind the wheel of an RV, so the idea of boondocking does intimidate me. I'll just be transparent with that. But we also, I think at Wholesale, like we've added like almost a concierge 800 number because of the new influx of RVers that just say, hey, if your flight out is stuck, not because something broke, not because something catastrophic, just because you don't quite have the experience yet to try to fix it yourself or like a little tweak here or there, like we've added an 800 line for support because there are a lot of new RVers.
Yeah.
But it's good to know that Harvest Host, it sounds like an average of 3 to 5 years. They've been RVing, which probably would make the most sense going on staying on business property and what have you. So on a personal note, you're an RVer. Can you share your favorite thing about RVing?
Yeah, it's just the freedom. I mean, the like whole like that's it. Full stop. I feel so like tomorrow we're going to a wedding in Sun Valley. We're taking the truck camper because it's going to take longer to drive than it would to fly, but to fly and we're taking our daughter, a year and a half old. We've got to get to the airport. We've got to get all of our stuff through the airport. We got to get on a plane, which she may or may not deal well with. It's a lot. And I just feel, it makes me feel claustrophobic. Whereas getting in the truck, super easy. I'm going to go tomorrow whenever I feel like it. Probably like whenever Waverly's done napping. So I don't have to wake her up to take her to the airport. Sweetheart, when you're ready, we'll go. Right. And then if we're driving and she's not feeling it, we'll pull over and hang out for a bit. I just feel total control, which I like. And then freedom to go when we want, leave when we want, stay where we want. Like we're trying to cool a new state park tomorrow that we've never tried. We'll probably hit a host at some point. So yeah, freedom. I mean, RVing is just all about freedom.
Oh, and that's as my children are 7 and 5. And so I can remember those plane rides where once we got to our destination, it was either the same amount of time to go by car. Once you start, right? Once you leave your house, you get to the airport X amount early, your flight, you land, you unpack, you drive to your destination, you get there and you're like, wow, it's 7 hours one way, 7 hours the other way. Plus, in your defense, traveling with an infant seat is not an easy task. I'll just put that out there right now it's just not fun.
Yeah, exactly. No, the car travel is way easier, and you factor in like our last 2 flights have had 3-hour delays on them, right? Like just crazy stuff sitting on the tarmac for no good reason. And that sucks. So
it does.
And then not to mention, we just booked flights back to Virginia, $1,300 a ticket economy. So yeah, gas prices might be expensive. They're absolutely adorable compared to plane ticket prices.
Totally. No, I couldn't agree more. Okay. Hopefully everybody stuck around. We have a drawing for a Harvest Host membership for a year. If I had a drum roll, I would do it, but I do not. You're going to give it to me. Okay. Michael Osuna. So Michael Osuna, if you are on, what do they have to do? Just chat in the chat and say, I'm here.
Leave a comment and we'll reach out to them directly on Facebook.
Leave a comment and we'll reach out to them directly on Facebook. And so Michael, I hope you enjoy your Harvest Host membership. I actually know you will enjoy it if you use it. So that's where I'm going to push you, Michael. I'm going to push you to use it because it sounds like an amazing time. And I think the reviews and all the locations speak for themselves. Joel, I can't thank you enough for joining us today and giving our clients and customers a better understanding of Harvest Host. We love partnering with companies like yours because it brings the experience and the freedoms, to your point, of RV travel, and it really makes them enjoyable and creating memories. And that's what we try to help create here, and partnering with companies like yours make it that much more successful, in our opinion.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you having me. Like I said, we've enjoyed partnering with you. You provide a great service. Love the 800 number for help. I mean, that's like, I could use that. Just nice to know there's someone that you can
Right.
call, right? Like, that's important. So thanks for all you guys are doing for the community, and appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely. Do you want to, on our way out, do you want to tell people where they can find out more about Harvest Host specific?
Yeah, totally. If you go to harvesthosts.com, plural, you can learn everything about the program. Click on photos. That's my favorite way. Just look at some of those beauty shots that members have submitted. You can look at an interactive map to see where locations are, see if there's places around you that you like. We have so many locations now that I'm hopeful that there's really something for everybody. And then if you're a host, right, either a private landowner, you can join Boondocker's Welcome. If you're a small business and you want more traffic, Harvest Host is perfect. Never any charge for our hosts, obviously. We appreciate you giving our members a place to stay. So that's it.
Awesome, man. Well, we hope you have a great rest of the week, and we look forward to talking with you guys soon.
Wonderful. Take care.
Take care, Joel. Alrighty.